What conspiracy theory do you believe to be true? What evidence led you to this conclusion? Marilyn Monroe was murdered by the US government. She frequently attempted suicide and then called someone via her landline next to her bed to come save her. No traces of it were found within her stomach and her colon had been extremely cleaned. A theory is that she was murdered via enema poisoning. I haven't brushed up on it or researched in a long time, so I am probably remembering facts incorrectly. Search it up on YouTube, it's quite interesting. No way. The top comment that was just deleted talked about fake gilding from admins in order to gain traction on posts, and it was deleted. I believe it now. Used to live in a small town in South Dakota and I am convinced there is something in the food water there to keep people there. I'm partially convinced it's actually the Dairy Queen causing this. Because for a town of 7,000, this place is always so busy, and somehow, every year for the past 11 years, the entire length of this competition sells the most blizzards on Miracle Treat Day. A town of 7,000 outsells every other Dairy Queen ? There's also some other things in that the town has a significant amount of people all with very similar disabilities to their left legs. I honestly am just glad I'm out of that town before it sucked me in. But how the hell does that small ass town sell 40,000 blizzards in a day ? The stories about Dan Schneider. Watching some clips of shows he produces is downright creepy. The tweets of his actress's feet don't help his cause. That Reddit mobile is purposely broken to make you download the app. Edit, I forgot to include my proof. Basically, when I started using Reddit roughly 5 or so years ago, it worked fine. Now every other page loads as page not found. Frickin' GIFcut makes to go to their website just to view a 5 seconds GIF. Plus to top it off, they keep pushing the app on me that I already downloaded but refuse to use. It works terribly. The fact that there is a secret society of people keeping Long John Silvers in business. I have a sneaking suspicion that some televangelists may not be entirely sincere in their beliefs. I keep ink pens from every year dating back to 2008 in my desk so that if I need to forge and backdate an important document, I can sign it with ink that matches the year I'm backdating. Yes, feds do check ink in fraud investigations. Not really a conspiracy, but might answer a few questions. Restaurant owners know how awkward it is to be sung to in front of the whole establishment. And they do it to discourage people from taking advantage of their free birthday food. Reddit admins get unlimited gold posts so it can gain traction. Why is the second highest rated comment removed? The frick is that bull poop? I heard radio coordinates commercials breaks to all take place simultaneously, so you're forced to listen to ads even you change the station. They're practically a monopoly in my area and I notice it happens to me all the time. Every time someone posts about a safe on Reddit, they actually have already opened it and know nothing is in it before their first post. That the USA deliberately gets into an armed conflict every decade or so for the purpose of ensuring that at any given time, they always have a critical mass of soldiers with actual combat experience. They get in a lot of conflicts. And it seems highly probable that the leadership of a country that spends so much on national defense would highly value the institutional knowledge that comes from that kind of continuity of practical experience, even if it comes at a high human cost. This is more of a personal conspiracy. I've been working as an American healthcare consultant for 2 years now. And I genuinely think that insurance companies are purposely denying claims so that they can leverage $ for their beneficiaries' medical records. For example, one of my clients, a huge and important hospital system, had to deal with hundreds of thousands of dollars of medical claim denials because Humana suddenly decided it didn't believe any of those hospital stays were legitimate. They basically told my client to either fax hundreds of medical records or accept the zero pays. It's really suspicious and unfortunate. But when they have the money, what can you do? Area 51 is not a place for secret government military testing with aliens and stuff. Instead, Area 51 is a scapegoat while shady behind the scenes stuff is going on at another military base that the general public doesn't know about. I mean, if you were really going to do something in secrecy, would you do it in the place where everyone thinks it is? Hell no. I don't have any specific evidence to back this up, but it makes sense, right? A forensics specialist believes Jamie Hewlett of Gorillaz is Banksy. It's not as big as other submissions here, but it's a theory I buy. Edit. Thank you everyone for providing your own theories in the comments. I buy into a good handful of them now. The thing I like about these threads is that there are people reading these comments right now who know something important about the theories and they just aren't willing or able to provide that information here. That Apple started the AirPods meme. And right before Christmas they would give out $150 gift cards. Edit. Wow. Didn't expect this to blow up. Thank you. Disney made Zootopia partly to replace the Song of the South characters from Splash Mountain. Splash Mountain is really the only thing that still exists in the public eye from Song of the South, along with the song Zipper-Dee-Doo-Dah. Since Disney wants to pretend that movie doesn't exist, so they created a movie featuring Fox and Rabbit characters that could replace Brr Fox and Brr Rabbit, and retheme the entire ride to be Zootopia themed, while leaving some things, like the name and the songs featured in the ride, from Song in the South. There's also that Disney loves retheming things to their IP now, getting rid of Maelstrom and bringing in a Frozen themed ride. So it would make sense for them to retheme a ride to a successful recent movie than keep a ride based off an old, mildly racist movie they are trying to forget. I'm starting to think that the really stupid conspiracy theories, vaccines causing autism, flat earth, lizard people, etc., are intentionally spread by propaganda groups and troll farms. They don't care what stupid poop you believe, but they are very interested to know that you're a gullible mark who will believe anything with no evidence, and won't do research with authorities on the matter to find the truth. If you want to spread misinformation, look for the people who do it as a hobby. Gum's gotten mintier lately. Have you noticed? Like, some of it's just too minty. Mason jars created Pinterest to sell more mason jars. Edit. Wow, my first silver. Thank you, kind and mysterious stranger. The 10-year challenge all over social media is actually a way to record and gather more facial recognition data. The F-35 project overcost was actually a slush found for secret research. The lines on the detergent caps are higher than they should be, so you use more detergent for each load of laundry. It's so easy for them to get away with it. I have a theory that Tinder gives fake "you got a new match" notification so people get excited and opens Tinder, which leads them to swipe more. Source: myself. The news report about beards containing more bacteria than a dog that just licked his own arsehole. Beards are messing with facial recognition software. The man wants beards to not be trendy anymore. Our apartment building has windows that are nearly impossible to affix a screen to. Same goes for the sliding doors. The power is centralized and locked into a certain expensive power company. I believe the developer and power company conspired to make people living in the apartments use the aircon more by making it hard to keep windows open without dozens of mosquitoes coming inside. Edit. People are asking about my language. I'm Australian. Thanks to draconian Aussie renting laws, I'm pretty limited in which modifications I can do. I feel like drugs like cocaine being cut with fentanyl. No dealer who wants to keep making money is going to cut their blow with fent. It seems like drugs are being intercepted, cut with dangerous poop and then sent back out. Evidence: they already did the same thing during alcohol prohibition. The people doing it are convinced they are doing society a favor. Reddit works with the NSA. I see weird posts sometimes targeting my demographic to respond. Make sure to know you have no privacy here. I see some making throwaway accounts. Very smart. Some people, celebrities, fake their deaths to retire from public eyes. I think the US made a secret peace plan with China after the Korean War. I base this on the way Chinese foreign policy changed so quickly and their lack of involvement in American wars in the decades to come. I think it fell apart in the 90s under Bush Sr. I used to tell people that I believed the government listened to our phone calls. Years later some guy named Snowden proved me right. That the dust the Kleenex tissue have makes you sneeze more, therefore using more tissues. I believe that there is only one ocean. My evidence: oceans don't have borders and there is nothing to separate them. Edit, guys. This is a joke. I don't necessarily believe this, but I've always speculated that a lot of priceless artwork and historical documents are actually replicas or copies. Obviously a painting by a world-famous artist using a very specific technique would be very hard to fake. And I don't think that every art scholar in the world is paid off in some grand conspiracy. Rather, I just think that either the national treasures never left their vaults or that some national treasures actually were lost to history but they were copied. The Hawaii nuke false alarm last year was actually the US government testing to see how the general population would react if an actual nuclear war broke out. The authorities aren't telling us everything they know about the Vegas shooting. I believe that the government probably makes some conspiracy theories to try to make questioning the government seem somewhat crazy. The countdown timers on ads for games or streaming services are actually longer than seconds. Seems too long sometimes. I think Apple is pushing their AirPods on consumers by making their software updates less and less compatible with wired headphones. My reasoning: my new headphones have started to consistently skip songs. Activate Siri. Stop and start music without me touching or even moving them. I asked around and other people are having the same issue. Not to be a tinfoil hat person, but tinfoil hat. Conspiracy: my local Jimmy John's waits until they have 3-4 orders to deliver before they bring me my fricking sandwich. Evidence: where's my fricking sandwich? 23andMe is run by the government to collect your DNA and database it for later. I am 100% convinced that Hostess going under a few years ago was a total marketing ploy. Banks and landowners conspire to manipulate urban land prices. Turn an area into a ghetto by marking it as a high-risk loan proposition. Denying loans in the area. Property values plummet on a downtown area because no one can sell. Because no one can get a loan. Once things are down enough, you can buy up prime location land at pennies on the dollar, then redevelop it into being worth the real market value of such a central location. Plus what you invested in the actual development. When Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, was at Harvard, he participated in a brutal psychological experiment led by Professor Henry Murray. The experiment lasted for 3 years and by many accounts they seemed to have an extreme impact on Kaczynski's psyche. I think this experiment was part of the CIA's MK Ultra project and destabilized Kaczynski enough to where he eventually went on his reign of terror of sending bombed packages around the country. During the MK Ultra project, the CIA collaborated with university professors on these mind control experiments, but a lot of the documentation was destroyed when people started to look into it. TLDR, the Unabomber participated in an experiment that was a part of the MK Ultra project that eventually led to him becoming a mass murderer. Michael Jordan's father was murdered in retribution for Jordan not paying off massive gambling debt. Jordan didn't retire and then come back. He was suspended for gambling. In the mid-90s, Michael Jordan was an industry. The truth about his gambling habits may have cost a lot of people a lot of money. So the cover story was presented. Edit: I admit the part about his father's murder is a bit of a stretch. But this is a thread about conspiracy theories after all. As for the suspension, I stand by that 100%. I believe that chapstick causes lips to become more dry a couple hours after usage. I base this on the fact that my lips are more dry 5 hours after using chapstick than 2 days after using it. Hey you, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing and hitting like. Also, if you have an Alexa device, you can say Alexa, open Reddit stories, to hear some of the all-time top Ask Reddit posts. Thanks for